Right, yeah. Another thing I wanted to look at was there was a Dune beta. I think it was for like creators only or something. But I wanted to have a look gameplay. Again, an IGN video. This is like pure luck that I've just chose IGN videos. But this is the DuneAwakening closed beta impressions by IGN.
When I first saw a demo of DuneAwakening over a year ago, I went from being skeptical.
One thing I have seen about this, I think it was Shroud I was watching. The characters, like when they don't have like the armor on, costumes on, they look really goofy.
That a survival game on the famously barren world of Arrakis could even work, to being absolutely hyped to get my hands on it. Now, after enduring the unforgiving conditions and hostile life forms of a desert planet for nearly 20 hours in the closed beta, I'm confident developer FunCom has the foundations of an absolutely stellar MMO that makes fantastic use of one of the greatest science fiction worlds ever created. Harvesting raw materials from the brutal wasteland, constructing bases, and upgrading your character and loadout, and then bringing all of that to bear against raiders and rival houses is just about as good as I'd hoped for. That said, I still feel
They just
like
bomb a child.
got a small taste of the larger game.
Oh, they're just really short.
Social spaces, most of the PvP, and especially
No, this actually looks really cool.
Important endgame areas were kept out of reach. And it's also no wonder the release date for DuneAwakening was pushed back a month while I was in the beta, as the build I played was absolutely rife with bugs and performance issues that will definitely need ironing out. Even so, I was quite impressed by the vast majority of what I saw, and am more optimistic than ever that they might just be able to pull this thing off.
Shout out to Travis.
Recently got spat back up by a shy halud. DuneAwakening is an upcoming massively multiplayer survival game from the team of developers who gave us the quite underrated Conan Exiles.
Yeah, Conan Exiles. I haven't played Conan Exiles. Apparently, if you play Conan Exiles, you can notice quite a few similarities between the games. But I think that's like same with like all games that come from the same developer, like a Ubisoft game. You can put a Ubisoft game on. Put two Ubisoft games on, and you can tell whether or not it's a Ubisoft game. Especially if you look at the map or something, just riddled with POIs. You can just tell. Same with Bethesda games. You can just tell that the game's been developed by the same person.
This is simple. You find yourself on
because it tends to use like the same
you have to find
mechanics.
a way to not die there. And if you know even a little bit about the setting, then you should understand just.
I'm a big fan. Like I watched both the Dune movies. I think the first one was a bit slow, but the second one was really good. And I love the setting. I think it's really cool.
Tall of an order, that is. In typical survival game fashion, you'll start off with almost nothing and turn piles of rocks and scraps of metal harvested from the wilds into tools to help you survive.
I think it's really cool that you can just literally do so much. And this world has been created by it's literally just the most barren place ever. But you can there's just so much you can do in it. And I think it's just so cool.
Building shelter along the way to protect yourself from the harsh environment. While you might, and frankly wouldn't be blamed, for wondering how the heck jogging around a massive, featureless desert could possibly be fun, FunCom has actually done a great job of filling each region with shipwrecks to plunder, hidden caves and fortresses to blast your way through, and mountain ranges to climb. And while there's plenty of empty space with nothing but
it just sounds like a survival game, to be honest.
These spaces are actually used to great effect as obstacles keeping you from the next area, which must be navigated across quickly, lest you find yourself...
It's no different than just having a forest, is there? There's just nothing else to really look out or hear birds chirping. You're just getting chased by a giant worm.
On the business end of a giant sandworm. For example, early on you'll be limited to a very small area that's cut off from the higher level areas that contain better loot and materials you need to craft better equipment. But crossing the massive distance of sand that stands between you on foot is a death sentence, as you'll undoubtedly draw the attention of an angry worm in the process. To get to the other side, you'll have to go through the steps of constructing your first vehicle, a small motorbike, then race across the gap as quickly as you can. This clever use of empty space brilliantly turns what I thought would be a weakness in the setting into a strength. And finding
there better be a skill that you can do to do the special walk they do. So the walk there's no pattern, so you can actually it might be slower, but you can actually travel across the sand without detecting a worm or something along those lines.
ways to cross a completely barren area with a shy halud hot on your tail actually made up some of my favorite moments.
Bro, the worm stuff in Darksiders like had my heart going. This would just give me like heart attacks. Like I'd be like shaking and like tapping my foot and like holding my breath in. But I'd be so sick at the same time.
Similarly, the oppressive nature of the sun, which forces you to dart from shaded area to shaded area, turns the entire planet into a high-stakes game of the floor is lava that can make otherwise uneventful jaunts from one place to another into an entertaining minigame. Refusing to take sun exposure seriously will drain you of ever-valuable water, wipe out your health, and kill you in pretty short order, which kept me on high alert. And since each region increases the heat level, you're constantly having to invent new equipment back at your base to give yourself the best odds at survival. Sure, it can be a bit of a pain now and again when you hit the head and come back to find the sun-shifted position, and now you're frying to death in the merciless heat. But hey, that's just the price you pay for living on Arrakis, my friend, and I mostly enjoyed this little mini-game that just made survival that much more tricky. Of course, in addition to crossing arid deserts and dodging sunlight, you'll be fighting off bands of bloodthirsty raiders and exploring forgotten places with a gun.
Yeah, this is just like your typical survival game, isn't it? It's just set in like a really cool setting. Like, you got a big map. There's like ruins scattered around. You've got like basically dungeons, like these settlements, camps that you can go through and raid for loot and like get your level up. And then like they get progressively harder.
Third-person gunplay isn't groundbreaking by any means, as you'll duck behind cover, toss grenades, and return.
What I've seen of like the shooting gameplay, apparently they've never done like a shooter before or incorporated guns into anything before. It actually looks pretty solid.
Fire and pretty by-the-numbers encounters, but for an MMO with a massive number of players on the server, it's still quite admirable that they managed to pull off gunplay that feels this snappy. And with a whole bunch of skill trees to pick from and build into, like the tricky and stealthy mentats or expert survivalist planetologists, there's tons of ways to differentiate your character from the rest of your guild. As for myself, I focused most of my skill points into the tried and true soldier, which I expected might be a tad boring, but was pleasantly surprised to find myself very happy to be grapple hooking around and tossing deadly gadgets to and fro. Running and gunning with friends at your side is especially entertaining, and there were moments...
Yeah, this grabs me as a bit more of a game to play with friends than the Hunger does. I feel like Hunger feels like a bit more of like an alone experience and a bit more of a challenging alone experience. This seems like it's just a big... what was I trying to say? This just seems like it's going to be like really enjoyable to play with friends and like you just both go off like do different things, or like maybe there's like 5 of you and you go off doing your own thing, you come back and you meet up, or you go and do like a higher raid together.
Like when my co-op partner used her Bene Gesserit skills to force an enemy to walk out into the open, then I threw a grenade
this.
out, where combat really shines. There was also just the tiniest sampling of PvP in the beta build, focused on a couple crash sites that allowed for player-on-player violence. But due to server populations being fairly low in the closed beta, it was hard to get a sense for how this aspect will shake out.
That is one thing I didn't like with Rust and what was it, Valheim? It's like if you were new on like a server or something, you'd go and you'd play it, like you just get wiped out instantly. Like you just have like there's like griefers just around, like proper knobheads just killing like people that came on, and it was like really hard to get a start in Rust. Like I don't think I got many hours in it because it just got to the point where it was like server after server I was just getting griefed. So I hope it isn't like this on Dune.
Zones or in the endgame areas I wasn't allowed to progress to, so it seems we'll probably have to wait for the full game to get a good feel on PvP anyway.
Find the Fremen. Wake the sleeper.
As a longtime fan of Dune, it also just feels so good to explore.
Is it Dune or June? Because you actually say the thing is June, but I don't know if like the actual like brand world is called Dune.
And learn more
Confuses
about
me.
a world that I'm quite fond of.
There's a proper pronunciation of that, of D-U-N-E, is June. But the actual thing's called Dune. It really confuses me.
FunCom has clearly put a ton of effort into world building and lore.
It's like Adidas and Adidas sort of thing.
Despite taking quite a bit of creative liberty by placing Awakening within a parallel reality and canon than the books and movies. There are little details that have a massive impact on gameplay, like how incredibly valuable water is treated as the ultimate resource. You'll drain blood from every fallen enemy, turn your own body
That's really
fluids
cool.
into water with a still suit, and take down bases just to pillage every drop of liquid gold they've got hidden away. And since water is required to make advanced materials used for crafting more higher level equipment, you'll need to harvest and stockpile as much
That's so harsh. You need water to live and water to make stuff.
can, in addition to drinking it just to keep yourself alive. I won't go into spoilers, but this kind of attention to detail touches just about every aspect of the world, including the factions and characters you meet along the way, which should be a treat for any fan of the setting. If there's anything to be concerned about with this otherwise thoroughly engaging beta, it's the fact that I encountered a whole heap of bugs and performance issues during my time with it, which included everything from crashes to frame rate dips, characters and objects getting stretched out bizarrely, and more. With the final version set to debut very soon, I was then pretty relieved when, in the middle of the beta, FunCom announced a month-long delay, presumably to address these issues. As always, it's tough to gauge how much of this is cause for concern when beta
I wish I could have played this because it just looks so cool.
Patch these sort of issues. But the sheer number of problems me and my friends encountered while playing was definitely cause for alarm with the launch date so near. For more, check out our recent previews of Marathon and Ninja Gaiden Ragebound.
Yeah, no, this looks insanely cool. Like, I think when this come out, I will play. I've never actually properly got into an MMO, but if I'm to get into one, it'll probably be this because honestly, I love the Dune setting. I think it's so cool. I've not read the books yet. I really want to read the books. I've watched the 2 films that are out, and it just looks so sick. Like, it seriously looks really cool. So yeah, DuneAwakening. I probably will be playing this, depending on the price of the game.